Today we will talk about strings in Java. So we already know some basics about string, but we have never really used strings in details in our program in great depth. Today we will analyze it greatly. So string is basically a collection of objects. So let's try declaring a simple string. Let's call it str and let's leave it empty for now, or we can do this also means an empty string, or to create a single space you can do this. So there are a lot of ways to create a string, or you can give it a name like Java. So this is how a string is created, and notice one thing: in all the other data types, like we type int a or float 2f or long, sorry, let's give it a name, long b, long c, 3l. Similarly, we got double, we got boolean, and we got short, byte, char. So you have been noticing that every data type starts with a lowercase character. So why this starts with a capital one? So let me explain it to you. These data types which I have selected are called primitive data types. They are part of the language. They are the part of the core Java. So they are part of the basic Java, the core version of the Java. But our string data type, it's not a primitive data type. It is a class. So when we are creating a string, we are actually creating an object of the class. We have talked before about this a little bit. So this is not a variable. This is actually an object. So now we have created an object of the class. So string is a class. That's why it starts with a capital, uh, uppercase letter. And let me prove it to you. How is it a class? So remember the scanner class. So to create a scanner, an object of the scanner class, we first type the class name. Then we type the input, that our variable name. Let's call it something different, like key in. This is our variable name. Then we assign it new. We use the new keyword to indicate that we are creating a new object of this class. Then we use the class name again, and then we pass in a parameter which is system.in for now. So that's we create a scanner object. Let me show you how to create a string object. One simple way is like this. Uh, you can simply assign it a value like this. Now we have created an object, or you can create it through a class. It doesn't matter which style you want. I just want to prove it to you that it really is from the string class. So first we type the class name, then we type the object name, then we type the new keyword, and then we again type the class name, and then in the constructor, this is a constructor. So here we have to pass the parameter. So parameter is the string you want to create. If you want to create an empty string, then don't pass it anything. So as you can see, now our string is created. So these are the ways to create a string. This way is not preferred since it's too lengthy, but you can use that. I just wanted to show you that it really is an object. Uh, also, to use methods of a class. So let me show you how classes work. So a class, as you can see, a class is a group of methods which are bundled together. So for example, this is my class. This is my class. I can create a lot of methods in it, right? I can create int, like return string, like return string. I'm just creating a random method. I can pass it a parameter. So now I have one method. Uh, Now similarly I can create another method. So as you can see, now I have created two simple methods. So a class, this is our class. So all these methods are part of this class. So every class has a lot of methods. So Java offers several built-in classes, and each class is filled with methods. For example, here we have the object of the scanner class. It has a lot of methods. So to use a method of a class, for example, here we have created an object of the scanner class. That means we can use any method of the scanner class. So to use any method, first type the object name, then write dot. As you can see, now we have all these methods. All these methods are defined into the scanner class. They are accessible through the through an object, through creating the object of the class. Similarly, once we have created an object of the string class, we can access all its methods. So that's the key part I wanted to show you. So before we start accessing its method, let's uh, let's uh, let's let's build let's take a single string input from the user. So to take, let's take a simple string. So let's ask the user for enter a text. Then to read the string, you have two choices. First, you have to store the value into this subject. Either you can use the input dot next line function. Sorry, in this case, let me change it to input since we are used to input. You can use the key in as well, anywhere, any object name. Then you can either use next line. Now it will read a full line from the user. Like you can add as much text as you want. You can add spaces, symbols, numbers. So you can add, your text can be as lengthy as it needs to be. So now as you can see, it has read all this text and it has stored into this object, string, variable, or object. But there's another method called next. So what next will do, it will only read text which occurs before the white space. So let's also print so you know what I'm saying. So let's print the string. So let's type in my Java, right? So as you can see, it is printing only my. Why is that the case? Because we are using the next function. Next function only reads till it sees a white space. As soon as it sees white space, it ignores all character preceding it. Suppose you have multiple uh, white spaces, like this is Java. Now we have multiple white spaces, but it will only read the characters preceding the white space. But if you want to read a full line, then use the next line function. So now we can read a full line, like let's type this is Java. As you can see, now we have the whole line here. So that's how you read strings from the keyboard. Uh, Also, strings are stored in the form of strings can be accessed through indexing. So what is a string? String is basically a collection of characters, and we can access each character of this string. For example, if we have a string, we can access each character of that string. So, but before we do that, let me show you some methods of the string class. So let's check that string first method is dot equals. So this compares two strings and tells whether the strings are equal or not. So this is used to compare one string with another string. Let's see how it works. Let's this string has Java in it, and let's create another string called string2, and let's assign it program. You can assign it anything you want. and let's compare them. Let's print the value of le- this will return a boolean value. So we need a boolean variable to uh, hold the value, right? It is false. Let's skip it by now. So let's store the value which into the boolean. If, and let's simply print the value of the boolean variable. So simply we're gonna print flag. So let's run it. As you can see, it is giving false since these two are not equal. Similarly, let's make them equal. Let's see what we get now. So now we are getting true since both of these objects are equal. Also, if you do this, like you can compare strings like this, right? You can compare strings like this, but it doesn't work. Let me show you. It will give you unexpected results. Like here, it is working by for now, but usually it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work, it compares their references. Here they are both referencing to the same thing. So, but let's if we read two strings from the user, so let's do that. Let's call input dot next function, next line. Let's call another input dot next line and store this value into string 1 and string 2. Actually only string. Let's create our variables again. String str, string str2. Let's run it. Let's store java into first and let's store java into second. As you can see, both strings are exactly the same, string 1 and string 2, but it is still giving false. The reason is this is used to compare references of the object, not the values. So remember to use dot equals function whenever you want to uh, compare two strings. And let's see what more we can do. So also these are all the functions of the string class. So for example, here is a function called isEmpty. So this will tell us whether a string is empty or not. So let's store the value into the flag. So let's read the string from the user. So as you can see, since this might be confusing for you, but let me do it like this. This is our variable. Let's enter nothing into it. So now it is returning true since this string is empty. Let's enter some text like K. Now it is giving false since it is not empty. So this is another uh, function of string class. And let's see uh, what more methods we have. We have several methods available to us. String class is very rich. It is full of methods. Uh, Also, let me show you some more methods. Uh, let's use string dot. So concate method is used to connect two strings. Uh, Matches, as you can see, these there are lot of methods, right? So here is a split method. We won't look into it now. Let's. I want to show you a couple more methods. So let's now let's focus on here. We have two functions called string1 and string2. They are empty for now. They both are empty. And let's convert string1 into lowercase and assign it to string2. So let's do that now. So now let's give it an uppercase value, like let's give it Java, and let's see what happens now. So as you can see, instead of doing that, let's do that. So let's run it. So now let's see what happened here. Let's skip this now. So here is our string object in which we have stored uppercase Java. Then I have used the dot lowercase function to which converts this string into a lowercase. So every character inside this string will be converted into lowercase. And then I am storing it back into this string. What if I don't store? If I don't store, it will be executed, but it won't be stored into any variable. So you have to store into variable. As you can see, it is still printing string. So you can either store it into string, or you can store it into string2. Either way is fine. But if you want to obtain the result, you have to store it. So as you can see, now it is stored. Remember in our function video, when some value was returned, we stored it into a variable. You are doing the exact same thing here. What if it contains a mixed string? Now it has some uppercase and lowercase characters. So everything will be in lowercase by default. So that's the lowercase function. Similarly, uppercase is used to convert into uppercase. Let's run it. So as you can see, now the whole string is in uppercase. But for now, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching.